Okay, I want to talk to you about something that's really close to my heart. It's actually the reason why I made this channel in the first place. Helping you create a documentary for your travels. Whether you're planning a trip or you've just returned from one, documenting your journey in a way that tells a story can be incredibly rewarding. So let's dive into some of the tips on how to make your travel documentary the best it can be right now. The first and most important tip is to have a clear narrative. What's the story that you are trying to tell with your documentary? It could be a story about the people you met along the way, the landscapes that you've encountered, or the lessons that you've learned about yourself. Whatever it is, make sure it's clear in your mind before you start filming. For example, say you're traveling to a remote village in a foreign country. Your narrative could be about struggles and triumphs of the locals and how their way of life has been during the globalization. By focusing on this narrative, you'll be able to capture the footage and interviews that will bring your story to life. Next is to plan your shots in advance. This means thinking about different types of shots you'll need to capture your narrative and how you will capture them. Are you going to need a drone to capture sweeping aerial shots? Will you be needing a stabilizer or a gimbal to capture smooth walking shots? Will you need to set up interviews with the locals? For example, if your narrative is about food and culture in a certain city, you'll want to plan shots of the different restaurants and markets, as well as close-ups of the food itself. You may also want to interview chefs or food critics to get their perspectives about the local cuisine. Get creative with your shots. Don't just stick to the usual wide and close-up shots. Think outside the box. Experiment with different angles and techniques. If you are filming a hike through a scenic mountain range, you could try capturing shots from the perspective of the trail itself or use time-lapse to show the changing landscape over time. By getting creative with your shots, you'll add depth and visual interest to your documentary. Tip number 4 is to edit with a purpose. Once you have all your footage, it's time to start putting it together in a cohesive story. This is where your narrative really comes into play. For instance, your narrative is about a group of backpackers exploring a new city. You'll want to edit the footage of them together in their adventures, interspersed with interviews and voiceovers that help tell the story. Don't be afraid to cut footage that doesn't serve your narrative or to rearrange the shots to make the story flow better. Last step, of course, is to use music to set the mood. Music can be incredibly powerful in evoking emotions and creating atmosphere. Choose music that fits the tone of your documentary and enhances your narrative. An example would be if your narrative is about a solo traveler on a journey to self-discovery, you might wanna choose a mellow music instead of using those kind of music. You can't use that kind of music. Instead, if your narrative is about a group of friends having fun on the road, then you can use that kind of music, that energetic music to match the vibe of your video. Now, how do you put all these things together? I suggest you watch these videos right here and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that we can all learn, create, and share. Peace out!